Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Hector. Some people call me Prana, some people call me P.
I eat pears now and shit like that.
First, before I begin this first episode, I just want to give y'all a little background on what 2.0 really is. The name of this show being 2.0 Lifestyle is pretty much self-explanatory. A way of life, it is a way of thinking, it is a mental perspective. When you think of 2.0, you think of the upgraded version of something, right? That being a mental frame is you're always focused on your growth, self-expansion, personal growth, really upgrading yourself as a being in all aspects. Just really focused on getting to that next level. That's pretty much kind of what this channel is about. It's about understanding perspective and having a little more compassion for everybody's views. So without further ado, we're gonna start this first episode. Jen Weir, she's an author, she's a life coach, she specializes in essential oils and mental health. She is an overall superstar being. It's me and Jen talking a little bit about thinking and applying yourself to knowledge, as well as creating your own experience. I want you guys to check it out, let me know what you think, and let's get started. Welcome to the 2.0 Lifestyle. My name is Hector. I have Jen here with me. And today we're going to talk about the difference between really attaining knowledge. Boy, if you don't get attaining knowledge in terms of like being exposed to certain knowledge and applying it to your life. I think there's like a big difference between really, like especially now on social media, how there's a lot of more higher consciousness feed that happens on social media, and a lot of people they're aware of it, they observe it, and it's in their life now. But it's different when you know of something and it's kind of just in your head rather than really applying it to your life and bringing it as a part of you. That's when you truly, I feel like, learn something, and that's where true knowledge, I feel like, is rooted from.
It's funny when you were talking, of course my mind is going, yeah, and how all these people are like, ooh, that sounds good. I think I'll hashtag that and I'll do it.
Hashtag no.
They just post a meme, post it on their story, or mention this person, yeah, this really good thought. And then you look at their life and you're going, did you do anything with that? That higher consciousness that you just heard of?
Definitely. I know I'll look at a lot of posts that they'll say what fruits and vegetables are good for certain parts of your body, and there'll be people sharing it, but they're not really implementing it. For example, I just started going to the gym and I want to learn how to get more muscle mass. So I'll actually look into what fruits or what vegetables are better for muscle gain.
I think it's fun. And I do like your idea, the analogy of fruits and vegetables when you're going to the gym, because not only are you aware that fruits and vegetables will help your body, but you're specifically going, okay, I'm not just taking that knowledge and just eating a banana. You're wanting to do something really specific with your muscle mass. And if you look at your life, if you look at, just going back to your wording, higher consciousness and applying some sort of knowledge, there could be, I see so many things about, the law of attraction, positive mental attitude, thinking good thoughts, you have this gift of thinking whatever you want, so make it positive. That's very vague and very general. Just like if I were to say to you, well, you just need to eat fruits and vegetables. Okay, so if I just ate an apple and an avocado every day, am I good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but okay, well, I didn't tell you how much.
It reminds me of like when, at a point in time where I was like, not myself. I was very like caught up with the crowd that I was with, and where I would get advice from people where they would just be like, oh, just stop hanging with them. Oh, just, just do your own thing. But like, what does that really mean? Like, do your own thing. And when it came to the point where like I was at like my breaking point with that crowd, I had to do my own research as to things to fill my time. That would replace certain things that I would be doing with that old crowd. For example, I used to be smoking a lot with those people, and it was like almost an everyday thing where it changed from smoking and hanging out and you know, doing sports together to going to the gym and going to certain mindful events in Boston and things that'll just like fill my mind with a whole different type of environment, really, like a different energy. It's very broad things that are put out there that people don't really take the time to go in and dissect.
Well, and that's perfect because you said you had to fill it with something different. Two things with that: you can't remove something and leave a void in your subconscious. You can pluck out a weed and not do anything, but eventually a weed's going to grow back in there because you haven't replaced it with anything. You have to really uproot it and like change all this. So you have to do a lot when you're trying to create a new habit. Just to say, okay, well, I'm not going to hang out with those people, for example, or if you're like, I'm not going to eat junk food, well, you have to replace it then with a positive, something that it's going to fill you in a different way. Because obviously smoking or hanging out with those friends or doing whatever, that fulfilled a need that you had, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And you found, okay, this isn't my best, so I don't want to do that anymore. When you make a new habit, you know, we hear it takes 21 days to make a new habit, which is not true. What happens in 21 days is your brain just starts to build new pathways. And so they're just starting to form in 21 days. So if someone goes to the gym, let's say, you know, January 1st, supposedly by January 21st, all right, it's a done deal. That's not true. Your brain has just gotten used to this, but if you stop on the 22nd, those old pathways are so deeply rooted in your brain, these fresh new baby neurons aren't as rooted. It's like a tender little bridge that your brain has made. And so if you don't continue to build that bridge for another 21 days and then another 21 days to really lay that layer in there. Look, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little sciencey.
Oh, you're good.
My bad. That way, those negative or the other habits where those other old neurons they're not being fired anymore, so they're not going to get used anymore, so they're just going to go away. That's how you make a new habit. That's how you apply the knowledge. And I should have warned you, I'll get real sciencey. Because to me, that like lights me up to know.
No, that's good.
Oh, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that happens. Basically, you just have to keep doing it over and over and reapplying, relearning. Like riding a bike, right? You never forget how to ride a bike. Why? Because it's so deeply rooted. It took so much effort. Think about it. You're a kid. You're like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. Right? And it really, there's so much trauma to it and there's so much joy, like all these great emotions. Your brain is like, I'm never forgetting that.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, that's just how life is.
It makes a lot of sense because they are filling that void, and it's like it gives you more the reason not to turn back to that old pathway or that old habit. And it's like it puts this metal wall, like, all right, I'm definitely not doing that again because either the trauma or the happy stuff that have occurred with that.
I think, like, I don't know, I want to do this to encourage people, and if they're consuming a lot of content, right, on higher awareness, positive thinking, higher vibes, I see high vibes, high frequency, and all that, but maybe reposting it and sharing it or just reading about it, consuming all this content isn't going to change you. You have to let it get into your soul so that you can push it out. You have to really think, and going back to, do you actually think? We have this divine privilege to think any thought that we want to think. I can't make you think anything. And even when people say, oh, Hector made me feel, it's like, no, he didn't. He didn't make you feel anyways. You allowed a feeling to rise up, and you stewed in it, and you welcomed it, and you went to bed with that feeling. Something happens and I feel like I can go, I can totally reject that. And I can think anything I want. If I hear that and say, oh, I have a privilege of this divine thought and I can think whatever I want, and I'm like anything? Mm-hmm. Like I can just think about being happy, but it's really hard because I really want to think about this problem I have, and within this problem, and it says, see, you're not choosing to think.
I had these old belief systems for myself, like my own story. I would create these things in my head like, oh, I will never get big, or like muscle-wise. It's just certain doubts, and there were just things built up from like things that my cousins would tell me, and as a kid in school people would just mess around and play with, but even jokes, they add up to certain self-doubt that you have within yourself. The money, for example. I never thought that I could make money literally just doing what I do with my own music. Allowing that actual pathway to come through rather than like doing deliveries or certain other things that were other ways of income, but it's not what we're really designed to do. I feel like I opened up that pathway to where I stopped doing deliveries. And we made a page for the studio. We started putting little content out immediately. That same week we got like 3 opportunities and blessings, and just you gotta face it and like open it rather than kind of like doing something else.
All fat though, claret the pinky. All fat though, we order the Fiji.
Thinking that it's gonna come from that source.
Yeah, I've talked to you and a lot of your friends who they do music, let's say, for example, but they work in something completely unrelated to music. And I never understood that. It's that mindset of, I have to pay the bills. I mean, yeah, you have to eat, but maybe you're not designed to be a waiter. You know, I was listening to a Jim Carrey thing, and he was talking about how he didn't graduate high school and all he could do was wait tables because he didn't know he could do anything. At that moment, he didn't know he could earn an income doing anything else. He started to realize, like, wait a second, I'm real funny. And I think about, yeah, with you guys and not any of these other kids who want to do music, but they're working construction. It's like that, no.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
If you're paying attention to your construction job and over here you're thinking like, okay, yeah, music someday, you're only going to become good at this job versus your craft, versus what you were designed to do. And you guys are such a walking example of, we are making our minds up, we're musicians and we're doing this, and then.
At first I was surprised because it was new. I remember like no, like we deserve this. Like this is
Yes,
our
you
calling.
do.
So it
Yep.
we should be getting money for doing what we love doing.
Yes.
And it's honestly, like truthfully, I feel like with the amount of sessions that keep coming in, I feel privileged. I'm pampered. Like, you know what I mean?
I need you to get all in the crevices.
Like before we used to worry like, all right, we gotta do deliveries and we gotta get this much so we could put it to this and give it to this person. And once like actually following what we're here to do, having money come in through that pathway, that's when like it was like, well, here you go. Like, and just
Hello? Huh? Nah, no, them broke ass niggas. Nah.
non-stop. And it's like, all right, well, now that's not really a worry anymore.
You said something and I'm like, oh, I gotta speak to that just real quick. So you said something about you guys are worth it and you should be paid for it. And there's this weird money mindset in our culture and then in other cultures. It doesn't matter what you are, white, Dominican, Puerto Rican, whatever you are. Where if I'm coming to you and I have products that I sell and you have a need and I'm like, yeah, you should buy from me. And on both sides of it, like I might think, oh, I shouldn't ask you for money. And then you might be like, why are you asking me to buy your stuff? And yet it's something you need. Somewhere in our culture where we feel guilty asking for money, and then on the flip side, we also think that person shouldn't be asking for money. I don't want to be sold to. And who do they think they are? If we could just let go of that and say, no, you are worth it. You are designed by God for greatness. You have a talent. You should be well paid for that. I'm designed by God for greatness. I have a great talent that I should be paid well for.
Yes.
And if we all kept it in circulation, if I pay you well, you pay me well, it's a beautiful circulation nobody lacks.
I say hello. No, can I, the blue cheese way?
And I love there's a scripture, and whether you believe in God or not, it doesn't matter. His laws are his laws. So they're just going to work whether you believe it or not. And there's that one that says, give and it'll be given to you. Pressed down, shaken over, basically spilling out. If you give, it's going to be given to you. It is a law. It's a universal law.
So bringing back to that point of being exposed to information, I could look at all this conscious stuff every day and yeah, okay, wow, that's cool, yeah. I'm this type of person, but if I'm not even taking it to practice, then it's like a contradiction. Same thing with if I say I'm a rapper, but I'm over here at Dunkin' Donuts making $12 an hour making coffees. I'm telling the universe that I'm not a rapper. I'm a coffee maker at the moment. Yeah. And friends of mine that graduate high school and they would talk to me about what they're doing with themselves and what career they're pursuing. And they're like, oh yeah, a minimum 100,000 a year. And I'm like, 100,000 a year? Don't you want more? Like, I mean, certain people, you know, they want however much they want. That's perfectly fine. But it's like they're literally putting a cap on your limit. They're putting, like you said, a roof. Like after that certain point, there's no going above that. So once you're there, like you're gonna be satisfied, or do you want to grow more?
But again, it goes back to mindset. It goes back to the beliefs. You have to take the positive mindset, this higher consciousness, to the end level. This is where we were talking about, you know, with you start gathering information, and then we do like what we're doing now. We're asking questions. We're grappling with it, and then we have that stage of life where we're wise with that piece of material that we've learned, that idea, and now we apply it in every area of our life to the end of our life.
I remember when I first learned meditation, and I thought, oh wow, well I'm good. Like I know how to calm my mind. I completed life. Little did I know, like there was a lot of, I'll call them demons, but a lot of dark side in my mind that I wasn't facing. That, you know, certain triggers and certain mental connections, certain things that I would make assumptions of just off a simple, you know, response. For example, that time that me and Victor were just sitting down and I made a joke to him about a mixing question, and he just answered in a serious manner.
I remember that.
Yeah, and just him answering, I simply like, I felt like he was trying to like kill my vibe as for some reason, when it was just, I made a joke, he answered, and like that's really simply what it was. And I made this whole thing in my mind that I can't be myself around him, that I can't be up and jolly with him, that I started making assumptions about him and being like, oh well, he's so stuck up, he's this and that. But it was like, that was just a lot of built up darkness that I haven't faced from childhood, from when my cousins would always, you know, anytime I would try to make a joke with them or play with them, they'll always bring it past the line, or they'll just cut it short right there, and they wouldn't want to kind of play, you know. And so I feel like there's so much more to learn, even when you think you've learned enough. Like once you think you're done, you've only just begun. Like you can learn a lot of information, but once you start applying it, you realize that there's so much more deep within it. There's so much more vastness that you can dig deeper and think, okay, well, all right, now I got this down, but now this is kind of rubbing me wrong. What is up with this? It's like fixing a car, you know. There's always certain little ticks. You always got to get the oil changed. You gotta make sure the brakes are good.
Well, that's good.
Fill the air tires. You can always get upgraded if you want to upgrade the car and want it to go faster, want it to be stronger, more durable. There's so many different things you can do to add to that, and you're always a student. Can we get just a little view of the two of you?
He could be our mascot.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of it, whether it was even the funny little cutscenes that made you laugh, anything that may have improved your experience. I hope a lot of what we touched up on resonated with many of you. We're gonna keep more coming. So thank y'all for watching again. Much love, peace, and I'll catch you on the next episode.
I'm a thick bitch, I need tempo. Fuck it up to the tempo.